There we go. We'll let everyone in. All right here. Yeah. See that?
Post all my things.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're just getting started. Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen really quick. How does that look? Does that look right? Awesome.
The font for Hall Davidson's a little small, but the rest looks great.
Well, you know, it was in the agreement that you had to be on there somewhere, you know. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to get started. I'm sure others will be joining us, coming in and out. My name is Mario Piombo. I'm the Director of Innovation at Napa Learns, and thank you for joining us for another episode of our Digital Innovator Program Spring Speaker Series. We have a few speakers with us today. This episode is really a special opportunity for us to learn more about the California Student Media Festival, which is just a wonderful opportunity for students to get engaged, get their media shown, be able to participate in the media community as learners, as entertainers, and we're really excited to use this live experience to connect you with educators who participate regularly in the festival, but also to connect with some of the committee members who are leading the work and putting together this festival year after year. And we're excited to answer your questions, inspire you to participate, have your students participate. And we're really excited that even in these uncertain times where we aren't able to have an in-person festival, we're still able to virtually host events and put on the show. So we're very excited to be joined by Hall Davidson and Mike Lawrence, who are on the committee, as well as Brad Upshaw and Lisa Gottfried, both educators who frequently participate in the festival. And then we also should be joined shortly by our friends at the California State Parks Ports program, who will be talking about ports and how ports is connected to California Student Media Festival. So just a brief agenda for our session. We are recording our session. I'll mention that we have our group here live, and if you're one of our live participants, you're lucky enough to be able to pick the brains of some of the folks who are doing this work on a regular basis with media. But hopefully you're watching afterwards the recorded session here, and so we hope that you're able to participate in some way in the festival if you're attending this meeting in live or watching the recorded version later on. So we're going to be talking about why media, why now, overview of the California Student Media Festival, its history, its mission, why do we put it on, talking about how do students participate, what is the process, trying to be as clear with that as possible. We don't want to have anyone not participate because they think it's going to be too many hoops to jump through. We're going to show you just how simple it is to submit your work. And then we'll be talking with Brad and Lisa about what they do in their classroom to get students on board to submit their works. And then we'll be also talking to the California State Parks Ports folks. And we may not be in this exact order. We might be a little all over the board depending on how our panelists decide to interact this evening. And with that, I'll hand it off to the wonderful Hall Davidson, who's going to be giving us some background on the festival and how did we get here, Hall? I mean, this thing is how many years old now?
It's 55, thank you. And I will go to some slides that I've made. But let me also point out, Mario, while you were talking, Barbara Nemco came in, who's also on the steering committee. So there's the county superintendent down at the bottom. Thanks, Barb.
Yeah. Hey, Barbara.
All right, so I'm going into, let me see if this works. I'm on a new machine, but it should work. Are you seeing my my keynote? All right, good. So you see, This is the Media Festival site, and Michael probably put it in the chat, but it's mediafestival.org. That's how long we've been doing this. We actually got the URL Media Festival, which is pretty good. 55, it's green because if you celebrate a 55-year anniversary, it's the Emerald year. So it's Emerald, that's our green theme, but we've been doing this for 55 years. I took over the directorship from Lois McCain, and that's probably 30 years ago. It had been around for 25 years then. Since then, I've been the festival director. Mike Lawrence has done a great job being the festival director. Glenn Warren is the festival director now, and it's all been great. So you see there, this is the actual website. You see the mission statement right there. And we hope you go visit there, and you also see that you have to enter by April 23rd, which you think, oh, gee, it's not a lot of time. But the truth is, we're trying to celebrate work that's been used all year. So you can crank up for it, and you'll hear how you can do that. But also, you may have examples in your class or examples you made for your class that you think are, gosh, who would want to see this? Those are things we want to see. The encouragement to use the power of media to celebrate student work, to celebrate teacher work is very powerful. And we're not looking for young filmmakers, although we do get filmmakers. We also get some really excellent work from teachers, but we're there to celebrate the use of media in a typical curriculum. This is
really quick, Paul. There's a little distortion over your screen where you may have like a pop-up from Zoom on the right side. Like maybe the chat window.
I don't see that. Is that this thing?
I don't know. I just see a blue box, and I also got a chat from one of our participants saying it's cut off.
A blue box. I don't see it. Let me see if I can.
I think it's your Zoom controls, Hall. Yeah. It's the bar that allows you to share your screen, and the bar on the right that shows participants or chat.
All right.
It kind of looks like redaction. I feel like it's a CIA document.
I don't get rid of that. Let me see if I can maybe go to more. Let me see.
Mike, what do you think he's hiding? What is he redacting on that? I wonder.
No, it just adds an air of mystery to the whole thing. I think it creates some suspense. We also had this,
is it still there?
State Park.
It's
right
still
under
there.
California
Wait, hide video
State Park.
panel. Let me see.
Yeah.
Is that better?
There we go. Yeah, and then move that toolbar all the way to the top, maybe.
or yeah.
Let me see.
You can also click on that one and remove that as well.
That one I actually don't see it, but I don't see that toolbar. Let me see. Would I hide something else?
Bring over it right there.
This thing?
Yeah, so just click
Hide
and
floating meter controls. That one maybe.
yeah, there we go.
Is that better?
Oh, now it's-
No, it's
now it's
just moved up.
There we
Now
go.
you-
Yes,
There we go.
Still there?
technology.
Is it all gone now?
All gone. No
Come on,
redaction.
you all. This
Thank
is a
you.
master of media. He did it on purpose. He just wanted to show you that everyone can learn. That's what he's trying to demonstrate.
Including me.
Everyone and anyone.
Zoom for the first time on a machine I just started on today. So there we go. But we are fearless, as you found out. Anyway, this is one of the things we've been most proud of for all these years. It's always been free to enter. Now and then we'll get a donor, and we can talk about those that let us give cash prizes, but no one ever has to pay to enter, which we think is a real differentiator from other festivals that are actually profit making. They cover their expenses. We're all volunteer driven, which is great. And you see there's a lot of special awards there, and we're going to talk about those in a minute. But this is where the festival normally is. It's actually an in-person, like a festival. We actually had people in the room for 54 years. We had screenings where people got to see their work on a very, very big screen, which is great. We had paparazzi, mainly parents, but we had paparazzi. We were on the PBS station in Orange County for a while, and it was very exciting. We had acceptance speeches. We had from middle school and elementary. We had acceptance speeches from kindergarten students. We had proud parents. We had a background wall and balloons. It was all fun, and this is someone who dedicated their award to someone else, to a very worthy cause. And that was all the magic of an in-person festival. We've actually done it at the Mann's Chinese Theater. So kids got to see their work on the same screen where they saw Star Wars, maybe, which is pretty cool. And of course, last year, thank you, COVID, we did it on YouTube. This was a heavy pivot. But it actually worked. And you know what we had? We had acceptance speeches. We got to see clips of the winning videos. And I thought it was a pretty satisfying event. So when you submit and you become part of the festival, whether you're a participant or whether you just want to come watch great work, great instruction using the power of media, you can come. And you can actually watch that last year's. And I would suggest, in all modesty, skipping through Glenn and I's part and just look at the clips and maybe hear the students' acceptance speeches. It'll cut down on the time. And also, there's really some great work. And hopefully today we'll have a chance to show some of that great work because I built it into this deck. If you are a participant, if you are into the finals for the nominees, you will get to see a clip of that for each finalist. And then we'll announce the winner. It's kind of a festival-like award. So you will get to see an awful lot of really good media, and that's one of the reasons why we love to do this festival. And if we have, I see Judy's, I can see that Judy's iPhone hand is raised. So if she has a question, you can put it in chat, or Mike can interrupt me, or Mario can interrupt me at any time. This is the vision and mission statement of the festival. The mission statement we've worked on, it kind of covers a lot of bases, but the vision basically, California, this is our state festival, elevates and celebrates student learning through and creativity through the meaningful use of media and the arts. And that means that, yes, this may have started out as a VHS driven media festival, although in the beginning it was actually film, celluloid film that people submitted, and it moved through video. But now it's everything. We have photographs, we have music, we have an artificial intelligence category, which is where students can create stuff and share that work. We had a 3D winner last year, a VR winner last year, and they were really terrific. So creativity, student learning in whatever media is around. It is the media festival, not a medium festival, which would be one kind of media, but an actual media festival. So we hope that you'll be inspired to participate in this. As a teacher, almost anything will do. We've had crayon drawings turning into animation. We've had just about everything you can think of. And we can look at some of these. We've had things done with Legos and so forth. Anyway, lots of animation stuff that's there. So that's what we're all about. There are a few things that we can tell you about the categories. And Brad, were you going to talk about these categories?
I was going to go through the application form and point those categories out, but you've got a nice slide there if you want to do an overview.
Well, this is the overview. We've broken it down into artistic and academic. Brad's going to talk more about it, but it's fiction and nonfiction, elementary, middle, and high school. We think this covers basically everything. Brad will talk to you more about that, also the academic part. We also have, this is from the form that Brad's going to talk about, but some special awards. There's little links there that kind of explain what those special awards can do, and those I think are important. And Brad, I think that's it for me. I'm going to stop sharing and come back. Was that coherent?
The thing about the medium was a little confusing, but the rest was all right. The rest was good.
Anyway, oh look, I'm back. It's very strange to not be able to see the group you're presenting to, but I'm back. Thanks. So, Judy, did you have a question? Was it answered? Oh, she wanted to applaud.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We'll accept the applause and bask in it for 5 or 6 seconds. To talk more about how this can actually work and why this is set up, we like to think successfully for classroom practice and for teachers and students in K12. This is K12. We used to have a college category long ago. We no longer have that. This is K12. But to talk more in greater detail, someone who has a lot more street cred than I do about this, and that's elementary teacher Brad Upshaw. Brad, by the way, is we're honored to have him with us because he's actually in the National Teachers Hall of Fame. What? Yes, and Brad teaches in LA Unified, and the last LA Unified teacher in the National Teacher Hall of Fame was Jaime Escalante, who some of you may remember from a film that they did of his life. So calculus stuff. So Brad, thank you. Brad, we like to think more importantly, has actually the person that when we had academic categories, math, science, language arts, has won every one of them over a period that stretches more than a decade back. So Brad, how does it work? You're coming to us from your house, but I'll turn this over to you and you can share your screen if you need to, but thanks for being here and congratulations again on all those plaques you have somewhere.
Thank you, Hall. Yes, it's fun being able to start off as one of your first speakers today, because I'm an elementary school teacher and our school's motto is, we're just getting started. Although you already started, Hall, so now we're just going to get to work. I want to tell people that as an elementary school teacher, you sort of really want to know the nuts and bolts of things. And going to mediafestival.org, you can find this application, the California Student Media Festival application, and it's very easy to use online now. But I wanted to go through it for teachers that might not have entered before or may have entered in other years, because this is the 2021 version of that. I also see that there is a rubric online that students and teachers can look at. And it's good to look at the rubric. Like any anchor paper, you can sort of see what you will be evaluated on, how the judges are scoring your submission. So let me start by, let's see if I share my screen. I hope this will work. I have a little bit of a slideshow that I think I can share. Let's see if that will share. Can you see my screen? Yes, Hall?
Yes.
All right.
It's very pretty, Brad.
Well, this is kind of amazing. You can see that this is the California Student Media Festival. And I think if you can see my cursor right down here, this is Southern California. And here's Northern California.
Not the way you're showing it to us. I'm looking at Italy.
I thought Mexico was bigger than this. Oh, well, maybe I'm not so good at, well, no geography entries this year. So in the California Student Media Festival, you will see that if you look at the rubric online, you will see that there's 4 big categories that we're going to be evaluated on for this year's entries. All right. And there's a whole rubric here. And I will, instead of reading all of those top numbers, let me just talk about, in this backwards planning idea, what we want to see from your submission this year. In the media and technical area, your project is going to be chosen. It's the chosen form. It's chosen, what? The project's chosen form of media displays technical expertise without difficulties, errors, or operating flaws. I only got a 1 on that one right there. All right, content. The project has an understandable form and or message. The project causes the audience to respond, reflect, and gain from the project. Are you thinking about your projects now? What about your creative and innovative category? The project displays elements that set it apart as unique, original, or compelling. And finally, there's the copyright and fair use category. The project respects copyright rights and guidelines. The material used for both original and non-original sources are cited. It may include music, writing, media clips, websites, facts, opinions, performances, photography, art, and design. Those are the 4 categories that you will be evaluated on. Now, this is the actual form that you can see online. You see that, like Hall said, April 23rd, that's a little dangerous here. This is when you got to get it in, but all you have to submit is a URL that takes us to your project. On the second page, you'll see that you're going to say about your copyright notations. You're going to talk about the title of your project, the teacher, and the phone number. You're going to talk about your school address, your school name, what city you're in, your zip code. And then here's the hardest part first: elementary, middle school, or high school. That's the first tough question. Decide which category you're entering in. And then this says to only write a paragraph, no more than a paragraph. But why was your entry made? What is the purpose? Share something about it. Let the judges know. On Chopped, when somebody says, well, why are you here at Chopped? Why are you in this competition, this cooking competition? And somebody says they want to take their kids on vacation. That's not the best answer. When they say, I've been cooking my whole life, I want to open my own restaurant. that helps the judges say, hey, this is somebody that has a passion about cooking. Well, we want to know why your students and why you are producing media for this festival. So sell it with that paragraph. And then also those crazy categories. Is it academic? Is it artistic? Or is it both? Once you have a project, you're going to have to decide what you're going to mark in that category. And then is your project nonfiction, fiction, or both? It's fun, isn't it, to try to figure all that out? Ask your students. Also, you can see all the categories we're looking for submissions: film and video, photography, music. There's there's art, there's VR, there's media. You can see it online. It's interesting that there are some websites here. I'm guessing that that's extra special. So they're really looking for somebody to do an Amazon Blueprint project. You got to do that. You got to.
Yeah,
or what about the global oneness? There's another category there. You have to think about that. And then it says, where should I find your copyright citations? On the next page, it says, who are we going to contact? Do you have release forms for the students that you're submitting? You may have that in a universal thing at the beginning of the year if students sign that. And then how does your media project help make a positive difference in the world? Ooh, and a special project will be given to the one that best addresses that goal. So no pressure. April 23rd, change the world. And look at this. How did you hear about it? So this is just a little data analysis. They want to know, how did you find out about this? And look at the first four: a teacher, an administrator, a former participant, or a conference presentation. You can mark all four of those if you're here today. And then you will submit your form and it's in. All right. So we're back to the media festival. One of the things I want to show next is I have a little video clip that I'll share next about, let me stop this share and share again. Let's see which one. I wanted to talk about the elementary experience. We do so much in elementary school, and from last year, the end of last year, all through this year or any year, some of these ideas might give you just that spark you need to do a project before April 23rd. So let me see if this will share. Let's see.
Oh, look at your controls on it.
You see that, Hall? Who is the tallest tower in Route 14? So you might have noticed that we went from in-person learning, where there was a crowd of people doing things together, and we moved towards that online distance learning remote in that little arc of some video clips from our little elementary school. But I think you might also see that we did a culmination virtually, and we've done our winter concert this year virtually. But beyond that, students have produced work all year long online. Sometimes in elementary, it's just a Flipgrid presentation, but they're all little personal production studios. And I have those submissions from students. And that's maybe one thing that we could share with the media festival this year, what students have done. You know, we're not really in show business, but we are sort of in show and tell business, right? So maybe as teachers, we can find out what students are doing and share that elementary experience, or secondary schools have their own things to share. I have another little clip to show you some of the things. Let's see, this is clip 2. Let me share this one. I think this one also is a little bit longer, but just to get, again, just to give you a spark of some ideas that you might want to do.
Very funny.
Elementary school teachers do so much. The students have so much to offer. You need to capture that curricular creativity. You can do it as an academic or as an artistic expression this year. I was just looking at the rubric again, and in this, the COVID year, probably there's no one gonna turn anything into the festival. This is your best chance to win. Look what it says for number 1 here. Technical issues make it impossible to experience or understand the project. We could do that. The project is haphazard or hurried. Most of my projects are that. The project doesn't have focus or meaningful purpose. There are no citations for elements at all for this project. even with a score of 1, you could win this year. You need to get it in. I've talked about the elementary experience. One more thing, if you just give me another minute, I want to talk about the ultimate experience. And that's when you get your students to submit into the media festival. Hey, listen, there's 3.5 million public school teachers in America, I think, right? This is the California Student Media Festival. This is in Indiana. Imagine if you're a teacher in Indiana and you won the media festival in Indiana. Great, great. You are from California. We're the California Media Festival. You got to do this. All right. One last thing I want to share is the ultimate experience. I showed you the elementary experience. Here is the ultimate experience.
And now it's time for the weather report. We heard from some kids in Kansas about strong winds in the prairie. Very windy. When it's summer here, it's winter in Peru. Very snowy. A classroom in South Korea told us it will be hot there today. Very sunny. And in El Salvador, it will be very wet. Very funny.
That's the news for today. Remember to make a difference.
Get to know the world and let them get to know you.
Here we go. All right, let's go to the next category.
Academic, fiction, elementary.
It goes to World News. Media Festival.
Discovery, Soundtrack, We Video, and NBC Universal all agree with us
that every student should have a world-class education.
We have two things in common with NBC Universal. We are both from the Valley and we both make movies.
It took a lot of teamwork to create our video.
We'd like to thank the team that creates this festival.
We'd like to thank the judges.
Thank you, judges. Thank you, judges.
Congratulations to all the elementary video makers out there.
Being at the 54th Student Media Festival is now part of our shared childhood story.
Hope to see you at the 55th.
So that's great.
So there it is. That's a little taste of a project that gets submitted, that gets recognized, and then the kids have that as part of their story. So I hope that everybody considers submitting this year. You have a great, as a matter of fact, I think I might submit. So if you're going to submit, you better be better than me this year. All right. I want you to take me out of the categories and you be the winner this year. You got to send your best. Or really, looking at Rubric 1, it could be haphazard as long as you get something turned in by April 23rd. All right, Hall. Thanks. Back to you.
Gee, Brad, well, pretty impossible to follow. That's pretty cool. Several thoughts. One, I can't wait till we all go back to school. But it's so good. Second, how great the stuff elementary kids do. And third, it reminds me how in your videos, you so often get all the school involved. So in Brad's phys ed thing, there'll be the principal doing it and a parent doing it and the custodian doing it. And all those things are good. Anyway, they do show the power of media. And it really kind of touched me when those kids, I remember from last year, were accepting on Zoom because they're so mature. I mean, there they are. They all had to link in. And I think it was either Mike or Glenn that had to get them on the phone because that was all live. You know, nobody knew who was going to win until we released it. And then they had to call in and it all worked. So if we can make that work last year, I think you could probably get an entry in by the 23rd. So that's our thought. Yes, and there are links that help with the individual categories and with those special awards. We've got stuff in there too. Mike Lawrence is telling us that looks like we had about 100% accepted participation from the people that were actually winners that actually still zoomed in and did it, which is terrific. So that's the notion. And Brad, thank you very much for that overview. It was also very fun to see in the pre-COVID haircut days in your in your video. So thanks. Anyway, so that's the perspective. You saw a lot of the kind of work that you see. Notice it's not a lot of flashy stuff necessarily, but a lot of great classroom work that's being shared. And when kids see themselves in that environment of the festival, whether it's online or in person, it really is kind of a magical moment. So thanks, Brad. Thanks, Brad, for sharing. Mario, back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Brad. That was pretty amazing. I miss teaching in an elementary school when I see that, because you really captured the sense of wonder in the students, and which is just infectious. I think that's what makes educators really want to wake up in the morning and continue to do their jobs. And it's pretty amazing that you've been able to continue doing that over Zoom. And I think it's really cool how you bridged the in-person to the Zoom. It was, yeah, it's a really inspiring message out there. So thank you. I want to introduce our next classroom speaker, Lisa Gottfried. Lisa was recognized by 100, which is an organization that recognizes the top innovations in education. She was recognized 2017 through 2019 for her work with digital portfolios and digital media. Lisa is also an Adobe master teacher developing curriculum for Adobe and working very closely with the product team at Adobe and informing their product decisions. So she gets to test all the latest software before the rest of us even get to hear about what is on the roadmap for them. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. So Lisa also is her day-to-day role on top of all the outstanding work that she does is as a digital media educator at New Tech High School, which is really one of the first high schools in the United States to do wall-to-wall project-based learning. And you know, at New Tech High, Lisa not only is in her classroom teaching digital media, but she's working very closely with educators in the school to look at ways to integrate digital media. And so most students go through media in some way at New Tech, and Lisa wants to make sure that all of the teachers that students will go on to be with after her class are able to, you know, bring media into their classroom. And she works with teachers very closely on integrating media. So thanks for joining us, Lisa.
Nice to be here. So I'm super excited to talk a little bit about storytelling. I think that no matter what career a student plans to do out in the world after they go to college or directly out of high school, whether it's something in arts, media, and entertainment, but even like becoming a lawyer, you really have to know how to tell your story, and you have to know how to make a compelling narrative that sells who you are or what, you know, what you're trying to do out in the world. So I think even though we're going to look at some examples of stuff that was made in a particular video design class, those same principles can be applied no matter whether you're an English teacher or a history teacher. We've had our history teachers submit winning videos for a project that they were doing in history. We've had journalism students. I'm going to show the journalism one that won. It was for the 2017 fires, but I think it was done in 2018, sort of the aftermath of the fires. And that one actually best in show at the California Media Festival, California Student Media Festival. So that was kind of exciting. And the interesting thing is the student who put that together is now has his own video production company. One of the people who edited and went down to LA from Northern California because it was super important to him, and his whole family went down to accept the award. And now he's running his own video production company, which is pretty amazing. And I think he also works sometimes with Mario. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, Gavin. Yeah, we love Gavin.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was super exciting. And then I want to show, well, I'll tee that one up first, and then we can talk a little bit about what we did last year, toward the end of the year, to make these little mini documentaries about things that were happening in our homes. I did one about my dishes and how they were piling up. One of the students did one about feeding their cat. One did one about gardening in their backyard. And again, it was that same, like, let's develop those digital media skills, but also storytelling skills. So it's all about, editing, just like you would edit an essay. A mini documentary is great for editing skills, because it's just like you do a rough copy, and then you do a draft, and then your rough copy, a rough cut, and then you do the final one, and you're looking for, like, is it paced properly? Does it make sense? All of those things. Those are English skills. Those are skills that can be used in any class that you need to do that in. So I'm gonna share. Can I share my screen? I think I need to be made the co-host.
I can make you a co-host. Yep.
Would you please? Okay.
Good to go.
All right. So this first one is about the California, the fires that were happening up in our area. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to share with sound too. So let me just.
This is Napa, California.
What?
A lot of us who live here took our home and our city for granted. So you can imagine how surprised we were when on October 8th, what started as a normal windy day turned into 2 weeks of confusion and panic.
Come on, she's disabled. All right. Go! Go!
In a matter of hours, the fire swept down the valley, wiping out nearly 5,000 homes and businesses with it.
At around 10 p.m. and have forced hundreds of people to evacuate. Those evacuations have been continuing frantically throughout the night. Wilson, we know
felt like you were driving through a tornado. Things were just blowing at you, and you could just watch the fire moving down the hillside, almost like a wave. So the whole neighborhood's just gone.
Overnight, lives were transformed. People lost their homes, lost their possessions, and lost their memories. Many lives were changed forever.
Having to run from fire or any of that, but we also felt like we're helpless. We can't go save our cats. We can't go grab any valuables. We can't even, take anything, of value, pictures or sentimental or monetary value. So we were just at the mercy. I drove fast as I could and got as far as the Oakville Grade firehouse.
It took weeks to put the series of over 250 wildfires out. Although the swift and tireless work of first responders saved hundreds of homes and kept loss of life at a minimum, the effects of the fires will be felt for years to come.
Silverado Resort, which hosted a PGA tournament at the weekend, with many fans staying Sunday night.
This clear?
Firefighters and police officers racing to the scene.
I know dozens of EMTs that were dragging people back and forth from the hills to the hospital with numerous burns. It was scary. It was a panic. People were very panicked. They didn't really know what was going on. They just knew that a helicopter was flying over them and telling them to leave their houses that they had spent their whole lives trying to pay for. So
we are now in the process of recovery. So when you are reflecting on the fires with your neighbors and your friends, remember, the fires are out, but they are not over. Be kind, lend a hand, do what you can.
our little logo.
On the fly.
So that was specifically a film class. So it had a really directed point of view, and we were really working on just how do you tell a story effectively, and the students were allowed to pick whatever issue they wanted to. So that particular team decided that they wanted to tackle what it was like in the aftermath of the 2017 fires. Unfortunately, we've had fires since then that are very similar to that. So it's pretty amazing to have that and then realize, you know, that feels so far away, and then we had it again several years later. So you know, I'm just super proud of they honed that message. It took them a really long time to actually finally arrive at that. And then just finding people that they could interview, and then how do you do that in a sensitive manner? So there's really some interesting interactions that happen when you're expected to interact with other adults, and then such a sensitive topic, like how do you talk to somebody whose whole life is now gone in a manner that's really respectful, because both of the Roy and the woman had both lost everything. So it was pretty incredible that they were actually willing to talk and willing to tell their story about it, because it was super raw. So you know, kudos to them. There wasn't a lot of filming. There's some interviewing, and then they had to source a lot of the images that they used. So it was writing the script and all of that. And then do you have any questions? Yeah, ask me questions if you have anything, or you want to chime in. I also want to share, we also do just sheer fun things. I mean, that one was super serious, and we were talking about social action issues and issues that were happening in our community. But we also do just pure, unadulterated fun. Like here, we want you to film all the different shots that a filmmaker might use in a film, and it has to be about something so mundane that happens at school every day, but because you're filming it from all those different angles, it becomes like this epic story. So I wanted to share a second film. Let's see if I can do this. That was just fun. So you can see, like sometimes it really helps filmmakers to just concentrate on such a tiny little slice of life. So we do that sometimes. So I miss that. I miss being in person, but I think most kids have cell phones or have iPads either from school that they could do something really fun, a video poem We've done a couple of those. I'm inspired now. Brad has inspired me to submit some work that the kids have done during COVID. And so I'll be submitting for sure. And I hope that other people do too.
That's awesome. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for sharing. What do you think, some tips, how have you seen teachers, at UTEG take advantage of, they know students have these skills, and what is your advice to teachers who may be a little bit fearful about turning students loose to go and create media? Because I know you've supported a lot of teachers in that position.
I think, you have to just let the kids have enough time to do it. That's the only thing I would say is like, they'll figure it out. They will figure out how to tell amazing stories. Have them go film for a little bit and then come back and look at the footage together as a whole class. And you'll know immediately what needs to be changed or what makes sense or what doesn't make sense. So it's a really good actually class building, team building skill around group critiques and really analyzing, does this make sense? Is that really putting forth the idea that you want to put forth? But, there's so many simple ways to do video, either through Spark Video or through iMovie or through like things that are built in. Stop action animation is always a big hit, and you can get success really quickly with stuff like that, with claymation and stop action. So kids love that stuff. So if you want engagement and you're having trouble during COVID, this is the way to get kids involved.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, Lisa. I love seeing those videos. I remember mentoring some of the students who worked on the fire video, and that one really, it really struck home because we lived in that, and it was interesting to be transported back to those moments, seeing all those images. It's amazing how powerful that was, and that they were able to capture that. So thanks for sharing. So we have Scott Shepard from the California Ports program. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing well. How are you today, Mario?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how Ports is involved with the California Student Media Festival this year?
Sure, absolutely. So we are a partner with the California Student Media Festival this year, and we've always been supportive of a California Student Media Festival over many, many years. We obviously use media as the Ports program as an opportunity to engage with students in their digital and in-person classrooms and really understand the value of students using media, not just as a learning experience, receiving opportunities to learn, but sharing their learning with others and really showcasing what it is that they're discovering wherever they may be. So this year we're partnering with the California Student Media Festival. There's 2 awards that are going out in the name of California State Parks at the amount of $750 for projects that relate to environmental stewardship. So Lisa, what a tough act to follow. Those 2 videos that you shared, I said that second video, really, I just felt like this overwhelming sense of nostalgia. I was ready to see Wallace and Gromit popping out of the corner all over the place. But that first video in particular is such an incredible example of environmental stewardship. Environmental stewardship really is the connection between what we know and how we act. And what I'd love to say to all of you here today, as a representative of California State Parks, is that climate change is real, it's bad, it's us, scientists agree, and there's hope. So environmental stewardship is really that hope. And I know that there are students and teachers all across the state who have been finding opportunities to teach and learn surrounding that hope in the environment and what we can really do to care for and steward these places where we play. But if you're wondering how you can go about doing that, I'd love to share a really quick resource. Is that all right with everybody here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So I didn't mention my title. I work as K12 Access Project Coordinator for the Ports program. If you don't know Ports, we're the Parks Online Resources for Teachers and Students program. So what I want you to know is that it's free, it's live, and it's an opportunity to engage with a California State Park expert in a California State Park, wherever that may be across the state. And we're trying to reimagine the K12 school field trip with Q and our nonprofit affiliate, Parks California. But let's get to the California Student Media Festival. We've been developing all kinds of new resources to prepare students for or reflect on their experience in the outdoors, whether digitally or in person. And here's a really great example of that. This is a new resource that we've developed with the World of Work, which is an offshoot of the Cajon Valley School District out in Southern California. And it's an opportunity for students to really have a workplace focused experience in their classroom, whether it's kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. Sorry, I got a little tech issue there. But in this example here, we asked students to put on their interpretive hat. Those are the folks that you would meet in a California State Park sports program, and to design their own digital field trip experience. So if you're a teacher and you want to submit to the California Student Media Festival, you haven't done anything yet, it's the last minute, you can come and grab this resource, engage your students right away, and start building, developing new innovative resources surrounding those natural, cultural, and historic resources that are important to your students in your classrooms, wherever you may be. So that's just a really quick example. I'll drop our link into the chat. I don't want to take too much of everybody's time today, but Mario, I gotta say, like, I don't know how much time I've got. Is there opportunities for questions? Anybody have
any questions? As long as you need, really. I mean, I think we have probably about 15 more minutes in the presentation. So I love the World of Work connection. I'm very familiar with their work in Cajon Valley and developing that program. And I think it's great that you were able to integrate that.
Absolutely. And well, while I have a few more minutes, if I can, I'd love to share, if you're looking for something fun to do this Earth Day, we have a whole day free live event that's going on our website through our home learning programs platform. I've just included the link into the chat right there. From 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., you can travel all across the state of California to go learn about marine plastic pollution at Gaviota State Beach, to go and join a puppet show with our AquaSmart Live puppets, to learn about water safety, to learn about nature journaling with one of my environmental education heroes, as a lifelong environmental educator, this gentleman named John Muir-Laws. Learn about Hearst Castle and monarch butterflies and what it is that we're doing as California State Parks to really, like I said, protect these places where we play, be environmental stewards ourselves. And I see Lisa just sent me a message in the chat, looking for something to do the last 2 weeks of class when my kids no longer have their iPads, but still want to nature journal. Awesome. Nature journaling, I am a huge advocate for nature journaling. Like Lisa was saying, if you really want to engage your students, go grab a journal and take them outside. That's, if you remember anything from what I say today, please grab a journal and take your kids outside.
Lisa also has her students creating digital art, in nature too, which is really fantastic.
That's awesome. I would say, we have a hashtag as the Ports program. It's #PortsFanArt. And I can go ahead and drop that into the chat. Students that share their work through that hashtag might have the opportunity to be showcased on our social media channels. So if you're doing nature journaling in your classroom, if you're inspiring your students to create media, whatever that may be, I encourage you to, let us know. We really are looking for opportunities to showcase artifacts of learning surrounding environmental stewardship from all across the state of California.
So here's the question.
Yeah.
If you have, I noticed you talked about art and digital work. So that's outside of video. Like if we have still work, can we submit that kind of work as well? Or is it mostly moving images?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a question for Scott. Go ahead, Scott.
No, go ahead, Hall. I know you've got the right answer.
Well, I was going to say it just has to be in a form that people can judge it. So if it's a Google Doc link, that would work. What most people do when they've done things, including journal works, is you'll shoot a page of it, or you'll shoot individual stills, lay some music, royalty-free music on top of it, and then submit it that way so people can see and evaluate the work. And then on the form, it's like, why did I do this? And you can explain more deeply what that is. So yes, anything is good, whether it's, whether it's a 3D printed animal, which people have submitted in the past. We just have to be able to look at it. So with 3D, for example, they had to put the files that they used to create the printed object online, and then we could look at it, open it with with software, and then see what they've done. So yes, all media is good.
Yeah,
and Scott,
I was gonna say
one question, Scott, could you define a nature journaling for me?
Ooh, so nature journaling for me, my personal definition is phenomenon-based, student-centered instruction in, for, and about the outdoors. So you don't necessarily need to be outside of your classroom. You don't necessarily need to be outside of your space, but you're looking at some sort of natural phenomenon and you're documenting your observations of that phenomenon through noticings, wonderings, and reminds me of. So like allowing yourself to connect to that prior knowledge and discover something new.
Cool, thank you. Wow.
No problem.
And the part of the deck that you showed, part of a summary of that is on the entry form itself. When you click that you're submitting for ports, you can click on it and see there are some of the resources, some samples and all that kind of stuff. That's right. Brad's got the part we do on trees. There we go, the mashed up part. So
yeah, absolutely. There, you can find those resources really easily in a way that's very student-centered, student language focused, or you can find our broader resources on our passports page, which I would highly encourage all teachers that are here today to check out. We'd love to collaborate. We have funding available when you're ready to come back to state parks, so let us know.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today, Scott, and for sharing how teachers might get their students connected and out into parks. It's exciting. I think, especially while our students, have probably been spending a lot more time indoors the past year. It's great to have a category that really encourages them to get outside and to be in nature and explore our beautiful parks that we have here in California. We're so lucky, and I think many of them probably don't have the opportunity to get out. So anything we can do to spread the word and get them out in nature, I think is going to be awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mario. And I may be biased, but I really feel like we define ourselves as Californians by our connection with the natural, cultural, and historic resources that we choose to live near, we choose to surround ourselves with, and fill our lives with. So I'm just super happy to be here with all of you today. And if you haven't had a chance already, please check out the COVID-19 Outdoor Learning Initiative with Green Schoolyards America. It's really, really great opportunities to start bringing learning outside.
That's awesome.
You have a link for that? You have a link?
Yes, I can drop that into the chat right now. Thank you.
That's perfect. Thanks, Scott. So Hall, we've really been all across the board here. What else is missing here? What else do people need to know? There was a question I'm not sure we answered. Someone had asked whether or not you can submit in multiple categories when you're doing the application. Do you have to select one category, or can you be across multiple?
I should let Brad and Lisa answer that question. Slyly, yes, people have submitted in more than one category. Now the categories are broad enough that you probably end up being up against yourself in that category, but yes. The definition, for example, let's say you're doing one on the impact of plastics on the ocean. That could be fiction. If you tell a story from an imaginary creature, or it could be nonfiction, or it could be elements of both. So if you're going to submit that, you sort of end up in the same category. Could you submit in one place and then also submit as a special award for the ports thing? Probably, because we don't have a way to filter those out. So the answer is probably yes. I will say that sometimes people submit in ways and they didn't think they had a ports ready project, and we go, you know what, we're going to move this over and make sure that it's in the right place. So the judges can do that, can move stuff around and make sure that good work is in the place where it can be best evaluated. Judges really have a hard time picking between student projects because they're all great. So they do use the rubric, and you do want to make sure you pay attention to that rubric and give your award the best possible chance. Again, Brad was a master at that, and Lisa, you've been a winner too. So any other off the cuff advice from that, Brad, about categories?
Isn't this media festival so unusual? It's so Californian to say, what's your project? Is it fiction, nonfiction? Is it academic? Is it artistic, or both? It's kind of wide open. So what you want to do is get your project, and then maybe with your students, try to figure out where will we enter this. But the main page, getting that URL in so the judges can figure it out, and let the judges look at that rubric and say, oh, I see their project. I see what they were trying to do. Any information you could give the judges about why you did this project, what the purpose was, who the audience was, your intended audience was, all of that will help the judges decide where your submission will win. But it's kind of, it's vague enough that you're going to win if you submit, right? I think it's automatic.
Yes, absolutely. Lisa, do you have any advice on top of that?
I don't, no. I do not have anything. All right.
Yeah, it is good. I will say this is not a festival for filling out the form correctly. So when we see good projects and somebody just checked the wrong box, we fix that. We look I can't think of a single year when the finalists came in where judges didn't look at it and go, you know what, this is so great, but it's just not about this thing that they put it in. Say, okay, we'll move it over. So it's not a fill out the form awards. It's a media award. So you submit it and it'll find its place. We have judges that want everybody to win.
Can somebody who's on the team speak a little bit to the Global Oneness Project? Like what that particular special, they're a great organization. Clary Vaughn is actually up here in Northern California, and she's 100 an innovator as well. So I got to meet her when we had our summit. Can you speak to like, what is that all about?
You know, Mike actually has the deepest contact with her. Mike, are you still on?
No, Mike had to jump off.
Right, I figured. So the Global Oneness, as you said, is a very significant and meaningful project. It would have meaning from elementary through middle through high school. If you go look at their guidelines. Last year we did it by the global initiatives. There's an acronym for that. Maybe Lisa, you'll remember, but there are. It's finding those out, and those are submitted in that category. But the idea again is, are you making something that addresses the needs of the Global Oneness Project? And again, sometimes people do, and they just don't know to check that box. So we'll find out. But if you go to, let me see if I can go out and put or maybe it's on there, the link to the Global Oneness Project. It's Brad, of course. There it is. You're muted, Brad. Finally get a chance to say that.
It's in the form. So it's the sdgs.un.org, and they can find it right from the mediafestival.org site. And then they can find out more about what Global Oneness is all about and how it ties into the media festival.
And we used to have them pick one of the categories that are highlighted in Global Oneness, but not anymore. It's just sort of look at those, be inspired by those, and direct that. And I will say, we do get people who are inspired by those. And Scott, I know that we've had people come in that have done some terrific stuff at the state parks. Even before the Ports Award, people, schools love to go to those state parks and show how the meaning connects back to those kids' lives. So I remember a video that's always impacted me about ice plants and how they're an invasive species. and how they're bad. Just like I came from the Midwest, so I love ice plants. It's like, no, an invasive species. So every year I learn something about that from the students that submit in the media festival. So
Awesome.
yes, a short answer, go to the Global Oneness, be inspired by it, and submit a project.
Great. Awesome. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I think we can begin to wrap it up. We'd love to have you guys participating and helping students submit. Again, the website is mediafestival.org. Wonderful domain name, easy to remember. We would absolutely love for you guys to give us feedback too on the presentation. Go ahead and shoot us an email. And we really hope to see your videos and your students on the big screen, so to say, on the big virtual screen this year for the festival.
So thank you. And again, if anybody has questions about the festival, there is a link on the website. You can submit questions. We do get those. We do answer every one of those. So please visit that site and participate. Thanks very much, Mario, for putting this on. And thanks to Brad and Lisa and Scott for being here. Those of us on the committee, Barbara, Mike, myself, Mario, really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we'll see you guys this year at the festival, hopefully virtually. And as Hall mentioned, just reach out if you have any questions. We'd love to get as many students submitting and participating as possible. And I also want to circle back and remind you, you've probably created some kind of media with your students this year, being virtual. And, you know, this is the opportunity to really showcase that.
And Mario, can I just add, you don't have to win. After all, this is California, right? Like I said, we're not in the Tennessee Media Festival.
That's right.
But you don't have to win. But the idea that you're still doing a project with your students, right? That they are submitting, you get recognized. The festival sends you an award. Thank you for participating. And you didn't win this year, but then you're going to do it next year. Just the idea of hitting a deadline and submitting and being recognized, whether you win or lose, it's win-win.
I love that.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'd love to see as many submissions as possible. And I think our judges would love to watch your students' videos, no matter how polished, unpolished, you know, they are. We're ready to watch them. And, you know, we will definitely figure out a way to get them in if they meet the mark. And if they don't, then your students had a wonderful experience and they'll be able to continue to submit, continue to engage with the festival for many years throughout their entire school experience. And we're excited about that. All right. I think with that, we're going to close it out. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and we'll see you in the festival.